Okay. On the left-hand side of the map, we have Snake in the purple. I say left-hand side. This is maximum carnage, so everybody's everywhere. And Saykoya is playing Ragna. So this is going to be interesting. And I believe this is the first maximum carnage I've commentated, so this is going to be a very interesting game. You're going to see a lot of interesting plays coming out here. And speaking of interesting, this sword actually not going for the capture, going for the attack on the sword. Actually sees that this sword is spawned down here, and there's no real reinforcer up here, so yeah, just lots of fights going on already. These swords challenging the village the commander spawned on. We see an air trooper spawn already. Interesting. So this map has a lot of very big balancing factors. Like you want to go for, do you go for naval? Do you build out your tower? Do you, like, what do you capture when you do capture stuff? Seeing an extremely aggressive play come out of this sword as they spot a full health sword in the river. And what's Saykoya going to do in response? Air trooper goes for that capture. So actually going to see this village here. So there are 4 fortified villages on this map, and now Saykoya has 3 of them, and that's a huge deal. Sacrifice naval captures to get it, but I think it's actually worthwhile. And Snake, what are they going to do in response to this? They've done a pretty good job killing stuff so far. We're going to see another sword go down. I'm probably potentially going to see this sword up here go down too. And oh, actually, maybe we're going to see the barracks go down. Yeah, Commander will eat quite a bit of damage. It is on a river, but not too big a deal. And yeah, we're going to see barracks get knocked down. So sure, Saykoya is doing well in a bunch of ways, and I think this is a sword crit. Yep. So even though you're on a forest and you're on a bridge, that's going to be a very one-sided fight. And Snake's just going to take the production lead. And this is a way this map can play out sometimes. Sometimes one player gets an economic lead and the other player gets the production lead. And because there is so much production overall, and because naval matters so much, it actually can be worth it to lose out sometimes as far as production goes. And yeah, we're going to see a bit more stalling. This barrack's going to try and stay on Snake's side for a bit longer. But is that actually going to work out? Or Saykoya's side a little bit longer, sorry. It's it could be a bit confusing on this map at times. So we see Harpy go for the commander on a river, so that's going to be 20 plus damage. And Ragna, okay, she has groove, but not really the best. And ooh, doesn't quite finish that sword off. That's unfortunate. And because, oh, actually no, moves across to let a crit happen. Okay, so we're going to see the barracks go down. And I think this is actually going to flip. Yep. So we see Snake taking the enemy barracks. Even going to go for some villages with their swords. I mean, they are weakened. And there aren't too many enemies around. Like, this is not a full health village. This was a freshly capped one, so yeah, this Harpy is going to easily hold Ragna off. Saykoya is, however, banking a ton of money. You know, they got that extra fortified village earlier. And because they have all of this early economy, they're going to be able to build more naval, which means they can flip villages on the sides. But sure, they're down to barracks in production, and that's pretty scary, but it's very much not game over yet. This map can go any way. Yeah, we've got a lot of swords duking out. We're seeing a lot of heals on swords, which is a lot of health to drain from these villages. You know, we could see like swords move up potentially, and oh, is this going to be another attempt to flip the barracks? I believe so. So yeah, the barracks is going to continue to be contested, but not captured this time. Ooh, and we see Elodie with groove. And I actually think tier 1 Elodie is quite spooky. She only captures things for 1 turn. So, not like the most significant thing ever. but you can yoink very specific units. You can flip them and get lethals for one turn. It's actually pretty scary. Oh, that actually kills. Nicely done. Uses a sword crit right there. Is this gonna kill? Yep. Mages, even though they've been nerfed, still pretty strong. Okay, and Elodie's gonna come in and finish off. Yeah, just clearing out more and more of these swords. Putting in a lot of work. Weakened village. It's gonna go down. And we're just seeing more and more captures. Actually, the tower is gonna get flipped as well. And people in chat are correcting me. Elodie is not a full turn. It does flip back when your opponent gets their turn back. But you do get to control them for one of your turns, which, you know, can potentially be very scary. If you grab a dragon at the right time, you can use that to kill a key unit. If you grab a golem, you can use that to kill a key unit. Grab a knight at the right time, you could crit your opponent's stronghold if like all the circumstances line up. It's pretty spooky, but it's not always the end of the world. And it's definitely not as strong as you get the unit permanently. But that is her tier 2 version of the groove, is that you get the unit permanently. Okay, we're just seeing more trades of soldiers. We're seeing the tower actually get flipped. That's quite spooky as well. So Saykoya is quite far behind on production right now. But maybe the play here is you just go for the naval. Could very well work out. That seems to be the play coming in. Just wants to continue to win on the naval front. Is actually going to try and push down this tower as well. So we're potentially going to see a flip on both sides. And yeah, the mage comes in, finishes off the tower. That's one production back in favor of Saykoya. And we might end up in a split map versus split map situation, which is interesting. But this is Max from Carnage. Anything could happen, but really does live up to its name. Ooh, heals off the fortified village. I mean, leaves it up quite weak, but I don't think this dog can break it down, so not really the end of the world then. Oh, Harpy crit versus Harpy? Not what you want to have happen. But I think Snake is going to do a good job clearing up everything over here. Going to do a good job clearing up some of these swords. And at this point you build like a golem out of your barracks even. You just want something that's beefy and can stand in front of it. Because you do not want to let your production get flipped. But if you do that, you then have to weigh that against, you know, you're potentially going to lose on the sides. You also have to continue producing out of this barracks. We see a harpoon on Merfolk, and that's actually some pretty good chip damage. Obviously not the best thing in the world, but you know, if you can get an early hit on a Merfolk, then any kind of chip is good. Who gets the steal? There is a lot of stuff in range to punish that, but that means that the Kraken is forced to stay back, which is obviously not what it wants to do. It wants to be moving forward, it wants to be threatening the opponent's stronghold. And Snake has a dragon out as well. What are we gonna see here? A ballista. Guess a crit. Does quite a bit of damage to these swords. We're gonna see a follow-up. Ragna, ooh, close to tier 2. Alright, Merfolk moves forwards. And while, you know, Harpoon getting chip is really nice, they do lose in a direct fight against Merfolk. Okay, we're gonna see Kraken come in. That doesn't kill. But I think the Airtrooper follow-up might. Now that's a lot of to dedicate to killing one unit. And the real value was that the fortified village got flipped. That's the real value of that thief steal. But okay, I'm gonna assume this is a tier 2. Oh, big damage, kills 2 units. And yeah, really, even though Ragna's sitting in the river, there's nothing really to punish her, so yeah, perfectly fine for now. And you've got like a decent sized army nearby to follow up. Oh, but Elodie has tier 2 groove. Oh, as I say that, is this collection of weakened units going to be enough? There is a ballista as well. I don't know if that's in range. Dogs come in? That's just going to be a regular dog hit. So they're going to live. That's one side blocks, but dog crit on the mountain, that's pretty big. And I think Ragna might go down. Are we going to see a loss here from Saykoya? And the answer right now is looking like yes. Ragna wasn't on full health when she landed in that river. And yet, Harpy follow-up. Gets the punish, and Ragna falls. Ragna says it's not fair. And that was a super interesting game. Maximum Carnage really is hard to follow, honestly. I will say that. It's very difficult to follow what's going on from a spectator point of view. I hope I did a decent job. This is my first time commentating on it. But it's also a really difficult map to play out. All of my games on it, this Test Your Metal, have been very... mostly one-sided, because one person plays the opening better than the other. So, yeah, it's hard. But I think as more people play Maximum Carnage and we get more people sciencing out the openings and trying different commanders, I think we're going to really start to learn more. Because once you do get those games, which are quite close, and this one was like fairly, I want to say like one of the more close games I've seen of Maximum Carnage, you do get very interesting plays, like people flipping like this barracks and this tower, or people winning on naval fronts where it really matters, or someone overextends over here and then like leaves their stronghold open to like this side, for example. It's very back and forth, it's very wild, and it genuinely lives up to the name Maximum Carnage. So I'm glad we got to see this game. We got to see some cool stuff come out. Elodie, tier 2 groove was up, but didn't get to see anything with that. I did like Snake's constant pressure on this production. I wasn't entirely sure about how Saykoya played out the opening, but yeah, I mean, they had a big econ lead because of it. But yeah, it was just a very interesting game overall. So I look forward to seeing some more Maximum Carnage games. And very well played by Snake, taking down Saykoya. Not an easy task at all.